Revolution Radio Studio A. This is Planet Collingwood. My name is Monty Dean. Just trying to, mix it up a bit, get it a bit, I'm doing a Biden. Sorry. We'll get to that. Big thank you to the previous show, the Y-Files, unofficial name. If you enjoyed the last 2 hours with Tony and the guys, please go to freedomslips.com and or revolution.radio and donate what you can. Just click on the Patreon button. Anything that can help within reason. We don't accept children, not after the last time. We'll help out the station because we're 100% listener supported. So if you have donated to the station in the last 10, 11 years, it's been so long. Biden's only been in for 14 months. Time's been manipulated. Thank you for helping out the station. We're all 100% volunteers as well. And once you're at the station, or the website for the station, pop into the merch as well as the chat room and buy caps and T-shirts, onesies for the little ones, then hang out with awesome people in there. Flippy Wood has returned. I put in a lovely gag where Flippy Wood left chat and I said, Flippy, no, he was only 3 days from retirement. But he came back before I pressed enter, so that joke kind of didn't work. And big shout out to $10 to Stretch, doing a sound check once we get there. I have been joined by, let's see, we have Raz, Cortek, Bruce, and an old damn it, I pressed the wrong button. So if I press that button and then press that button, there we go. All right. And sorry about that, Raz. I pressed the wrong button. So that's how you start a show, going, I'll just get rid of all the guests.
Indeed. Right. It's like an eeny, meeny, miny, mo, bang.
Yeah,
Oops.
Well, this
Wrong
Skype,
one.
This Skype crap, it keeps changing. And plus, I have watched the State of the Union address, the Wag the Dog edition, and been playing drinking game. So, I may sound like Biden. Did anyone say hello, everyone, first?
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Excellent. Cortek, are you on a dinghy right now? Are you underwater?
I am just perched on top of a rooftop. I've managed to splice into someone else's antenna, but it's pretty much water up to the roof. No, it's not that bad. It's just it just won't stop.
No, it won't. It's heading south. It's trying to move towards Melbourne, but it should run out of steam because Queensland is underwater. A lot of people are out of power, and New South Wales is being dumped on. The weather people, how they can't predict anything. They came up with a new term. It was a rain dump. Or rain bomb or something like that. They
spend all night on that one.
Oh, yeah. A gram of cocaine and a bottle of Jack Daniels, and you'll be amazed what you can come up with.
Gonna work on this all night. Can we get takeout?
We will stick with this story until we find if we have to. Now, previously on Planet Collingwood, Joe Rogan, Canada. So what's been happening in the last 7 days? Anything important come up?
I saw, I think, probably a meme that you posted with Meanwhile in Canada, and I've got some.
Oh, that's
some
right. Yes, Meanwhile
yeah.
So tell me, who sold you the bouncy council, man? Huh? There you go. Anyway, of course, Ukraine. Well, according to Joe Biden, the former vice president of the United States, Putin may surround Kiev with tanks, but he will not change the hearts and minds of the Iranian people. You didn't watch the State of the Union address, did you?
No. It sounds like it's such an emotional tug of war, isn't it? It's like the same people who I see who are still upside down on everything about what happened from the election onwards, who are just happy to get all 3 shots and not consider any risks or whatever, or any future, complications from pharmaceuticals, knowing what side of the A and B formula they have inside you already, so they might, in terms of making things worse or as a possibility for complicating things. But it just seems to be swapping one for another. Lost my thread.
Well, strangely enough, that was sort of what was happening during the speech, because at one point he actually said the pharmaceutical companies were bad, and then he said they were good, and then they were bad, and then they were good, and then they were bad, and then they were good. So it's worth watching. It is very humorous. I was watching the Crowder version, and it was they had a drinking game, and then I watched the Tim Pool version, and I think he was drunk as well. If you've been on Twitter, it's been a frenzy because it's basically 75% of it sounded like a Trump State of the Union, and it was more like a campaign speech because they were afraid of the red wave at the end of the year.
Mexican wave.
No, the Republican war. Did I change timelines again?
Commies are coming?
No, Republicans are red, Democrats are blue.
Always with the red and the blue.
Yes, that's how it works.
Can't we have it like purple and orange? How badly would that stuff everything around?
Someone actually did say over the course of an hour, Joe Biden started turning orange because he was just basically like he said people have been saying defund the police. Well, now it should be fund the police. So there's like 4 or 5 different points that he's flip-flopped.
Is he trying to undo the damage that he did originally?
I guess they're afraid they're going to be smashed in the midterm elections.
I think every party in right now who's been through this is going to get smashed just by default, aren't they? Hey, I saw in Raz News, I saw that Mauritius has got this really weird waterfall that goes underwater. That's all.
Is it salt water and fresh water?
It's Oman actually, because we are living at the tip of what used to be a long land strip. So we are the highest point now that because there was a flood that happened on planet Earth, and we are essentially the top dwellers of the massive volcano. And since a volcano starts to spew lava, it forms like a how can I explain this? A plateau. So that plateau has crevices in it, and when you look at it from top view, it gives you the feeling the water is going downwards.
Looks crazy.
Yeah, just right. You'll see it. I know exactly where it is. I've been there.
What I find interesting is I've seen a waterfall in South Africa go up instead of down, but then you realise, oh, hang on, that's a helicopter shot, and they just reversed it.
Oh.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, that's it. Nah. Because they flew away from it, then they realised, oh, no, that's better if it was flying towards it. So they just reversed the vision. And unfortunately, if you look carefully, the water's actually going up the plateau instead of down.
Damn you and your eagle eyes there, Monty.
Well, it's called reality and gravity. Just putting it out there.
just offhand noticed that the rain was going up.
Yeah. So, ladies and other ladies, I have to congratulate you guys. We've successfully defeated coronavirus.
Oh yeah.
Now
who would
that
think that
Ukraine is?
Yeah, a war would be
going on.
Yeah,
I didn't see anyone. I didn't see anyone stand out the front of a big banner that said "Mission accomplished" this time. How are you supposed to know?
Well, no. They learned from the last time. So,
I've been reading mainstream media, and I have a lot to say to you guys. So I shall start now. If you guys feel like laughing, please hold it. That applies to the listeners as well.
I can't guarantee that.
So I will start. This is from the mainstream media, guaranteed 100% true, about what's happening between Russia and Ukraine. The Iron Man of Kiev has taken out 75 jets in his high-tech Iron Man suit. The Cougar of Kiev has successfully seduced 890 Russian servicemen and got them to switch side and provide intel to the Ukraine Minister of Defense. Hold
on. What's 890 divided by 7? I'm just curious. This could be a record.
90 divided by 7. It's not a.
No. 891 servicemen. The war's been going on for 7 days. That could be a record.
So it goes on. The Ghost of Kiev has taken almost 300 Russian planes. The Ukrainian Reaper personally executed 450 Russian dogs, including an entire elite Spetsnaz unit. The Ukrainian air defense blown the F off 150 Russian plane, I had to be careful there, over the Black Sea and in Ukrainian proper. Then we have Russian hardware for miles and miles sat destroyed. Estimated loss 700 tanks, 250 APCs, 375 towed artillery. We have Odessa ass bandit raped over 80 Russian military men. Wow. Russian service members fleeing like crazy. Britain is delivering high-tech weapons and ammunition. Zelensky is personally on the ground fighting with his soldiers on the front line to boost morale. The entire Russian government is currently crippled. Even China is distancing themselves from Putler.
So
Russia hit the wrong anti-air site, so they can't even achieve air superiority anymore. Hundreds of Russians' artillery captured intact by Ukrainians. Twitter and Facebook now blocking Russians from making account. Russians can still access porn site though, Pornhub. Russian news agency TASS report and then immediately deleted news over 160,000 Russian troops died during the invasion already. The big bad Russia has been blown the F off by little Ukraine in a matter of days. Lol, 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 lol. This is from the American mainstream media. I can guarantee you guys everything you just heard from me is 100% true.
Sounds
Well,
like
I'd like
the
to add to
social
that.
editors are getting in there, the ones 18 to 20.
I'd like to add as well, a single rooster raised on a farm in West Ukraine. Damn, I'm Biden. I'm turning into Biden.
I did a Biden.
Yep, yeah. I'll start again.
Biden.
A single rooster raised on a farm in West Ukraine has single-handedly pecked 13 Russian soldiers to death and has been clucking throughout the night, each night, to ruin the invaders' sleep. This morning, he selflessly gave his life so his fellow comrades could have a meal. This unlikely hero is known simply as the Chicken of Kiev.
What a hero.
Oh.
I am emotionally entangled in that story, and I feel for that chicken. Hungry.
Thoughts and prayers to that family's chicken. Chicken to Kiev.
If there's one thing the last week pretty much showed to me, is just how well the anti-Putin, anti-Russian conditioning took place in the West. It's absolute
in the US,
tier, no métier, absolute. I can't even use any word right now, so I'm just going to use C word, G word, A word going into B word. And try to figure that one out.
What I'm interested in from your stories, Raz, is like it all seemed a little bit anonymous and people just kind of chucking stuff up on social who are paid, not very much, who were aged between 18 and 20. But I heard one person has at least given themselves a name. They called themselves the Ass Bandit. Was that right? This is like a small story that I heard. At least he's kind of made some kind of personality of himself. Does he have a YouTube channel or anything?
Strangely enough, probably, yeah. Because you'd be amazed what YouTube actually leaves on the platform and what takes off.
If anyone understood Russian military hazing, they wouldn't dare call themselves as bandit in Russia, especially in front of the Russian military. Believe me, those guys get very liberal with their Kalashnikov, I'll tell you that. That barrel has been inside Vladimir, Vladislav, Jacob, everyone. So
it's only been
go ahead.
It's only been 5 days since the whole thing in the Ukraine, and war is bad. Innocent people getting killed is bad, and it's very hard to have a conversation with anyone else because they just see Russian man bad, and it's like, well, my comedic brain and I know history. Can I bring up Northern Ireland?
Sure, you can.
Yeah, okay, cool. I mean, the English have only been there for 800 years. At what point do we smash this tyranny? Yemen is still in conflict, so is Syria. They totally ignored what happened in Canada. And, the hypocrisy and transparency is off the charts. And we hope it resolves. But most likely, Putin is going into because Kiev, the Ukraine is highly corrupt. It's sort of like the US going into Mexico to fix things. So yeah, but because we've got Biden, and that's another thing. Because I'm the only one who saw the State of the Union address. I wish someone was here to help me. But Biden has said we have to clamp down on border security, and that was one of his flip flops as well.
Before.
He spoke for an hour. He slurred for 45 minutes of it.
Was it the one with Nancy Pelosi sitting behind him?
Yeah, yep. Where
I think I watched snippet of it, but I don't have the mental sanity required to go through that.
That is
trifle,
true. That is true. Yes. She did stand up a bit too quickly and nearly stumble, which was amusing. And also, when Biden was talking about the flame pits that the U.S. military use, where it's like, oh, we've got all this rubbish. Oh, we'll just burn it. Well, this is nuclear waste. We'll just burn it. And of course, the personnel around it are getting sick because it's toxic flames. At one point, she stands up and starts rubbing, she's got her two fists together and rubbing it together like a squirrel on crack, or a cricket trying to make a noise for a mating session.
Or an evil mastermind.
Something like that. She was gleeful and stuff. It was just really weird. And you had Kamala. So when you're looking at Biden, Kamala was on left side of screen and Pelosi's on the right side of screen. And I'm like, I'm sure I've seen this in a book called The Bibli. It does look like the apocalypse is happening.
I reckon if Skeletor had a wife, she'd look like Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah, well, I still like it when Tucker Carlson actually said Michael Jackson's back, and actually after about 30 years setting up the joke for about a minute and a half, he cuts to Nancy Pelosi with her eyebrows halfway up her forehead.
I thought I saw Michael Jackson this afternoon, but it was who was
Elvis?
that guy? No, Bruce? Who was that guy that you sent?
Who said? Oh,
the comeback king.
Corey
Oh
Feldman.
my goodness.
Yeah, so I would recommend. Actually, don't watch the State of the Union address because it is painful. I had a friend watch it and he fell asleep 3 times during it because Biden's so exciting. But Ben Shapiro has an 11-minute response to it, and he just explains it, everything, lays it out on the table, where the State of the Union is pathetic. Because I was watching the Tim Pool coverage, and Lauren Sutherland was there, and they were drinking beer. So a lot of people doing the drinking game for the State of the Union are really going to have a hangover in the morning, because there was a lot to drink, because he just kept flubbing words. Instead of conflict, he said clownflick. No, clown, something like that.
Clown flick.
Yeah.
In this current clown flick.
Yeah, basically, yeah. He stumbled for about 5 to 10 seconds, and that is actually a long time, 5 to 10 seconds, because he got mixed up and didn't know where he was. He's reading a teleprompter. Anyway, and there's just so much. So with the comedy show on Friday, hopefully my brain will digest and will make fun of him much more, because there was massive flip-flopping. It sounded like, as I said, a campaign speech instead of – it wasn't like, oh, this is what we did. It was a lot of, oh, this is what I'm going to do.
Buzzwords.
And has anyone been in an abusive relationship where, your partner goes, oh, I brought you flowers this time. Yeah, but you burnt down the house for the 3rd time. Yeah, but look at the flowers.
Is that what flowers
No.
No.
She can't hurt you anymore, Monty.
Well, he's still in office. That's the problem, Bruce. I think he can. Apparently, to fight inflation, he thinks that everyone should lower their costs. And it's just like, really? The term train wreck comes to mind. So that's okay. That's my very short review of the State of it.
Why?
Well, no, actually, interesting enough, it was Biden at his best, and it was still a train wreck. Go ahead, Bruce.
So, I mean, why do we even discuss this in any context other than its proper context, which is quite simply that there's an organized effort in the Western world to deconstruct our societies.
Yep.
And, there appears to be a little opposition to it, but nobody's really speaking out about it. One of the things that happened, there's Monty, do you mind if I get my little announcement out of the way first about our friend?
Okay.
Yeah. Do you want to say it?
No, because I have no idea what you're talking about.
Our friend in Arizona. Oh, you don't know?
No.
Oh, okay.
What gave it away when
okay.
I said I don't
So
know?
for those of you who might know, I wrote a book called Stardust Ranch: The Incredible True Story, with a gentleman named John Edmonds, one of the most remarkable human beings I've ever met in my life. A story within a story within a story, life-changing. Anyways, John passed away Sunday night.
Oh.
Um,
Wow.
He had been undergoing a long medical battle that began with an aorta exploding. I believe it was between his stomach and his heart. And then ultimately he got diagnosed with COVID and put on a ventilator. Now, from the moment he got sick, he was trying to get out of the medical institutions, but he left too early and he had to be rushed back to the hospital for another operation. And, when he was unconscious or in his, you can go into certain states in medical procedure where you are considered incapable of acting on your own behalf. And so power of medical attorney is given to someone. And in this case, it was given to his wife. And when he got the COVID, they put him on the respirator, which is the worst thing you could possibly do. And so he's one of the 85% that didn't come off the respirator. So sorry, I just wanted to get that out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of hit me a little bit odd.
Yeah.
Monty, you didn't know that, Monty?
No, I didn't know he passed. I knew he was in the hospital, and it's the last report I got. He was. It was a positive outcome. Like it was looking up for him.
I thought Andrew would have told you. It was announced on Facebook by his wife yesterday, so I just thought I would say it. But just a remarkable human being, led an unbelievably remarkable life. I mean, there's way more to John than just Stardust Ranch, man. That dude knows everybody. I mean, everybody. He knew Jimi Hendrix. He knows Jimmy Page. He like everybody. I don't know. There, Stardust Ranch is as weird as that story is. The better story is the entire life story of John Edmonds. Okay, it's just amazing. So there's my little eulogy for John, and I'm going through the psychic version of Phantom Limb. Because when you write a book with someone and you talk to them every day for months, you get a very special relationship. I can talk to them very clearly in my head. Like I can just sit for 5 minutes, close my eyes, and have a conversation with them. And that's how strong his psychic presence is in my memory and in my consciousness from working on the book with him. Anyways, okay, with that out of the way, clearly the Great Reset is in motion, and this is one thing that the trucker convoy did in Canada, is it forced the mainstream media to talk about the World Economic Forum. It forced the media in Canada to expose the fact that half of Trudeau's cabinet has been through the Young Leaders program in Davos. And so this is beginning to break into the public now. Now, you get the sense when you read these columns in a major. So it was published in the Canadian equivalent of the New York Times, very serious daily newspaper, very similar to the New York Times in many ways. People should be able to figure it out on their own. But just laid it all out and said, look, I mean, we have to legitimately question whether our leaders are acting in our national interests or in the interests of a global realignment that they're not openly discussing with us in a democratic process. I was amazed. So as dark as things are right now, a lot of steps have been made in the right direction. And as for Ukraine, I will just say this to get the conversation going. Why doesn't Raz give us his take on the Ukraine and in 3 minutes or less, beginning with Sabbatai Levi in 1666. What is so special about that country, Raz? I know you know after the lecture you gave last Tuesday, and I mean that in a positive way. Not I was spellbound, man.
Yeah,
I
it's
can,
like my show was a comedy show,
if you
but
want.
it's
I
like this is
can,
a
if
comedy.
you want, give you the spiritual reason, but it's too much. Go ahead, Monty. Tell us about how your show is a comedy show.
Well, it was a comedy show, and then you come in with that awesome information. I'm like, I can't make fun of this crap. Oh, no. Oh, I did though. You did say rich Marxists, and that made me giggle. Because it's like, what? Because they're Marxists. They shouldn't be rich.
I have information that's, believe me, I got quite a brain box of a head. How do you think I found like people like Andrew Botsit and everything? I just randomly stumbled upon it? No.
Yeah.
It was a long breadcrumb. But anyway, here's my take on Ukraine. The whole Crimea, I'm not going to go into Crimea for now. Crimea is a different affair. But back in, let me retrieve this, 2014, Petroshenko was in. Petroshenko was 2014 to 2019 was Petroshenko, and it was a pro-Russian government. And the US was very pissed about this. The US was very pissed that we have a pro-Russian government in Ukraine. Understand, Ukraine is a very funny little country because it's, in terms of strategic warfare, if you look at the landscape, the West has two gates into the Russian-Chinese area. The one is India, which is a Western democracy. The second one is Ukraine, Belarus, and so on. Belarus is not going to play a game with the US. Belarus is completely utter garbage. I know because my aunt is from there. My uncle married her from there. And Ukraine is one of the nations, and let that sink in, one of the nations on earth, according to the UN, who has a green pass to do Nazification legally, to post Nazi propaganda. The other nation on earth who has the right to do that, as per the UN, is the US. No other nation has the right to do that. You can't do Nazi propaganda. You can look at that up. Now that we had 2014 to 2019, which was also the Trump era, we had Petroshenko, that was a pro-Russian guy in Ukraine. Ukraine had it good. Ukraine was actually prospering the last few years. Then in 2019, they put Zelensky. Zelensky is pro-US and anti-Russian. And that's when shit starts to happen. Why? What do you think is going to happen? They're going to pull it to their side.
He's also a stand-up comic, and the country is highly corrupt. I mean, what is it? Biden?
The entire Slavic country is oligarch corrupt. They just do their corruption better than the West.
Yeah. Is it John Kerry, Nancy Pelosi, Joe Biden, and there was someone else. All their kids have high-paying jobs in the Ukraine.
Mm-hmm. Nothing sus.
Yeah.
Nothing sus.
So, Raz, the process that got Zelensky in, talk about that a little bit. Was it a legitimate election, or was he like that dude they tried to insert in Venezuela, Gabado, or whatever his name is?
He is an insert. He is an insert. I know what you're talking about. In Venezuela, Venezuela is the second largest oil reserve on the planet. You remember they froze commodity prices and upped the salaries by 10%. 3 months later, it was inflation everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was Venezuela. Venezuela had real, honest to God, Mad Max style roving murderers. It was bad in there.
There's another interesting fact about this conflict, and I'll just throw it out.
A lot of natural gas to your arrow. Go ahead.
A lot of countries are behaving in a non-normative way, given their stance towards armed conflict since World War II. Okay, so for example, Germany is beginning to rearm itself.
I saw that.
And I mean, okay, I'm just going to say two things: BMW and Mercedes-Benz.
Yeah,
And-
Poland's not really happy about that.
Yeah. So, and the second thing I noticed, which is worth noting, without driving people into a frenzy, Israel is sending aid and even doctors to the Ukraine. Israel hasn't acted in a foreign conflict that's not relative to its own geography since its inception. Okay, that's a very curious thing to note. And the ties between Jerusalem and Kiev need to be noted as well. There are strong rabbinical ties between those two communities. Okay. And the reason for that is the Ukrainian Jews are seen as a certain class of Jew in terms of their erudition and their unique rabbinical schools that Israel would see worth preserving. And you see, you got to understand, like the Torah is like an Etch-a-Sketch. You put 100,000 Jews in one country for 300 years and 100,000 Jews in another country, both of them studying the Torah, and they meet in 300 years. It's a fascinating experience for them, right? Because it evolves differently. It's almost like an organic consciousness culture, Judaica. It's hard to explain. So there's a this is why this conflict is so staged. It's basically a production being put on by all the world's intelligence services, the Mossad, MI6, the CIA, the FSB. What's really going on, I don't know. Don't ask me. But it's nothing good for us.
No.
Okay.
Well, I've seen, like Mr. Rowe in the chat just pointed out, Switzerland has picked a side. I think that's the first time in history, but Brazil hasn't. And like, wow, like what timeline are we in? Also, there's 4 or 5 debunked things, like, the Ghost of Kiev, which is the that's where all the chicken memes and all that stuff came out, where there was one Ukrainian fighter shooting down all these MiGs. Well, that turned out to be footage from a video game.
Yeah, I've seen a list of about a half a dozen things like that.
On Fox News, they showed 2 Ukrainian soldiers holding paper or cardboard AK-47s. And now there is fighting going on because the refugee, it's not really any refugee is a crisis, let's be fair. But the general public are running away, and there are troops there. But it's so much misinformation, information overload. And if everyone has a camera, why aren't we seeing footage of more actual combat and everything else like that? And like there was actually a photo of, I'm bad at names. It's my English upbringing. Kaczynski, Winsky, the president of the Ukraine. There's a photo of him. Look, he's in the trenches and fighting with his people. Unfortunately, the photo they showed was from April last year.
So, how do you do a search on Google for an image search?
Does anybody know how to do that? Just put it in and just click on images.
Or you can write a reverse image, and then you will give you the Tiny Eye site. The site is called Tiny Eye or something, and you upload your image and you search if there's anything comparable.
Okay, because a few people have done that, and a lot of the imagery that they're using for the Ukraine engagement is really not happening in the Ukraine, and it's not happening in 2022.
Let me tell you something about Ukraine. Nothing is happening in there. It's all fake. That's why I did that little talk when we started the show. It's all fake in there. And I want to continue on the Russia-Ukraine thing, if you guys want me to.
I'll just add one more thing. CNN was actually showing a live feed of Kiev or whatever that place is called now, and there was air raid sirens, and it was a wide shot, and then an Applebee's ad came on and took up 2/3 of the screen. And you had a cowboy doing some backward boot scooting with his bum out, and you want some chicken wings, and it's like, yeah, timing, chaps. I mean, it's CNN, but here's a city that may be bombed. But while we wait for that to happen, have you thought of going to Applebee's to have a quick beer and some chicken wings?
Yeah.
So now let's look at the simple basic things. Russia, Ukraine, US, EU. We all know Russia wants to sell petrol and natural gas to Europe. Now, the US doesn't want that, which is obvious, because their dollar is supported by OPEC oil sales.
Well, actually, sorry to interject. They're actually buying oil from Russia at the moment. So that whole thing about sanctions. Well, if you really want to hurt Russia, stop buying their oil.
Well, that's the thing. In 2014, Ukraine had a pro-Russian government. So USA, CIA launched a color revolution in there to topple that elected government. 2019, they managed to put their guy in there. But during Obama, Biden had his son milk Ukraine via Burisma. If you guys don't know what Burisma is is an energy production company. So they milked the crap out of Ukraine. And then when Ukrainian prosecutors started looking into Burisma and Hunter Biden's corruption, they just threatened to withhold, lots of billions from the government and try to get them to drop the investigation. Now, Trump got in 2016, and Trump, like you all know, is a massive autistic wildebeest. So everything went quiet on the Ukrainian front. Eventually, Trump lost the election a couple of years ago, and Biden got in. And now Biden is ramping up his Ukrainian dealings again, and he's trying to push NATO straight into the face of Putin. He's actually talked about all of this all the way back in a World Economic Forum video back when he was under Obama, I think. I remember snippets of it. So these things are happening right now. Now, what about Putin? Putin doesn't want to hurt Ukrainians. Putin is tiptoeing into Russia right now. Every time they meet a sort of opposition, they're backing away. If you know anything about Russian army, they are very good at air fighting, though they have very good jets. Back in Syria, Russian air fighter pretty much bullied everyone. They never said that in the Western media, but I know it via my Indian connections. And Indians and Russians are very close together military-wise. They do a lot of things together. They buy a lot of weapons. Russians are very good at air superiority. And on day one, Russia took the air completely took over the Ukrainian airspace. Now their forces are walking in slowly, surrounding the Ukrainian forces and taking them as prisoners. They don't want to kill the Ukrainians. They don't want to hurt Ukrainian civilians. They don't want to damage Ukraine's building. Putin wants Ukraine intact. He doesn't want to do any form of war on them. That's not why he's there. Now, in the American media, in the Western media, they're making it sound like it's a massive war. Understand the American mentality and understand the American normies. They are not military people. They are not a military family. They are not a military bunch. They are people with resource who carpet bomb other nations and then run their foot soldiers through. The US has always carpet bombed nations. They've always destroyed buildings. They've destroyed infrastructures. They will tackle the power grid. They will tackle the water source. They will tackle all the infrastructures, and then they will walk in. Yeah, they don't do military like Russians did. Russians are not carpet bombing the place. If they wanted to carpet bomb the place, they would have done it already.
Yeah, look what happened to Libya. Because the first thing they hit in the first 4 days, they hit the aquifer. Because that evil Gaddafi was building an oasis in the desert, but they hit all the infrastructure and everything else. Like they cripple everything, and then they walk in because it's kind of easier. But as you're pointing out.
Libya is a tragic story, but yeah, we can go into that another time.
No, I was just using that as an example.
Yeah, you're right. You're right what you're saying. I mean, just look at Syria. We have tablets that are 3,000 years old that was destroyed by ISIS, and we all know who established ISIS. So Russians don't want Ukrainians dead. 70% of Ukrainians have family in Russia anyway. And they have family in Belarus.
Yeah. Well, look, make it easier. When did the Ukraine join the Soviet Union? 1920s. So you've had at least a century of constant Russian. I mean, they speak Russian. Most of them are Russian. Crimea, wasn't that there was a vote, 90% wanted to be joined to Russia because they're all Russians anyway.
This is they have
Russians
their own.
and I was gonna look. You can't have this conversation without discussing Russian Jews.
Why?
Because they're an integral force in that region. That's the Khazarian homeland. They have a spiritual. So again, let's go over this again, okay? Because a lot of people don't understand this. So there are two languages in 2022 associated with the Jewish people. One is Hebrew and the other is Yiddish. Yiddish developed in that region. Okay, that's where it comes from. It comes from like Kiev, but like 900, 1200, whenever the Khazarians converted. Okay, so it's as I said, a very interesting chapter in Judaica. Like what happened in that part of the world is there's a very interesting spiritual story there. Okay, so there was a lot of religious intermingling there. Okay, it was almost like Spain in the 1100s. So you've got all the Muslims around there, and this is something that not a lot of people know, but some of the longest lasting Sufi lineages are in that area, right? And I don't know what you guys know about the Sufis, but let's just say for the sake of brevity that they are the Islamic version of Gnostics, a more mystical version.
They are the spiritual branch of Semitic religions.
Yeah, I would say they're the most spiritual of all the Semitic religions now, including the rabbis, the Franciscans,
all the Sufis.
It's a very interesting
spiritual stuff.
Yeah,
I know it via the Masons. I know a few Mason Muslims, and they talk a lot about Sufism. And if you look at the 1800, early 1900, American immigrants, or those who immigrated to America, you will see a lot of Eastern European Jews in there, like Shapiros and all that. They are all Eastern European Jews.
Yeah, I believe
very intelligent bunch, very different from Ashkenazi.
Yeah, I believe Hollywood was started by Jews from that part of the world as well. So it's one of these places in the world that has very quietly, without a spotlight, influenced a lot of things in the last 100 years or so.
I mean, okay, it wasn't basically like just give me a bit of prehistory of it in very Fisher Price terms. When the Israelites or the Jews were kicked out of Israel, isn't that where they ended up basically? Well, a major group ended up in Khazarian, and that's why they're so prominent and known. Because I know Ben Fulford. What's his first name?
Benjamin.
Benjamin Fulford. Yeah, I was right with Ben, which is kind of ironic because isn't that Jewish for son? But let's move on. Fulford actually calls them the Khazarian Jews because he understands, there's only 20 million Jews on the planet, and they're not all out for world domination. Now, when you get into the spiritual and the political and the rich, I call them fake Jews. Sounds very Trumpism. You are fake Jews, but that's where that's where they're from because they don't look kind of Middle Eastern, do they? There's a lot of Caucasian DNA interacted. That's I just want to. Yeah,
they're completely white.
Yeah, because that's why Whoopi Goldberg has her position of it's white on white crime. Even though they still carry what is referred to as the Jewish DNA, because it's originally from that tribe. And when you're anti-Semitic, it's like there's 12 other Semitic tribes. You can't just.
But like Bruce just said, just look at that area and the last 100 years worth of political intellectualism. These guys are very, 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 very brainy people. And that has always been a staple trait of those Jews, which is something you didn't see in Ashkenazi Western European Jews. Western European Jews were considered intellectually barren. But the Eastern European Jews, I mean, just look at Soviet Russia, just look at the Bolsheviks. Go on, Bruce.
Yeah. So you see, this is one of the, okay, so in the West, we get very organized and focused Jewish influence, beginning with the Bank of England in 1689. I don't know. Somebody look it up. 1689, 1688, sometime around there. This is, it's the fiat notes or what we call the elasticized money of fractional reserve banking, even if the reserves are gold and jewels, which they would have been at the beginning. This is the methodology by which the Brits hyperfuel their economy and create their navy and all of these sorts of things. And and pretty much everyone in the world who has any kind of an evolution in their society at this period in European history has Jewish accountants. Okay, you got to understand the connection between Jewish people and the entire concept of accounting and money and interest. They invented it, or
it's in their religion.
It's in their religion. Yes, it is a religious edict for them. Thank you, Raz. Okay, we get the Christian Zionism beginning in Britain, because that's where the Balfour Declaration comes from. We get the King James Bible, which was who knows. I think I'm going to put all my cards on the table here. I mean, I'm born and raised a Catholic. My mother was a nun before she got married, so I studied the Bible a lot in my house. I probably know it as well as anybody, actually. I just don't brag about that. But I do think that the rise of the Jew in Europe coincides with Protestantism and the fracturing of the Vatican's power. Now, I'm not saying the Vatican's a good thing. I'm just giving a history lesson here. I'm not taking sides, okay? So then after World War II, this Jewish diaspora and financial power moves to the United States and uses that as their base, okay? Now, throughout all this history, in the eastern part of Europe, it's mainly like Ukraine and Czechoslovakia and Poland are the three big Jewish populations, okay?
Shit.
And I'll close off by saying it's very interesting that Israel is joining this war effort. They may be one of the first countries to contribute foreign forces. The president of the Ukraine right now, Zelensky, is Jewish. Okay.
So what do you think they want to get in there early for?
Well, if I may add a little bit of information, apparently one of the ministers of the Ukrainian government has said that they're fighting for the New World Order. Now, I don't know if it's our New World Order or is that the slogan that they put forward that America brings peace to the rest of the world, that false reality.
Well, so Zelensky will be one of these WEF stooges, World Economic Forum stooges. I don't buy that for a minute, by the way. I think that the biblical narrative has to close itself, okay? Not by the providence of God per se, but by the amount of psychic effort and underwriting that's gone into manifesting it and the fastidious Jewish practice of paying every tax to advance the project. So it has to manifest. So we're not going to get some Klaus Schwab Switzerland-led world. It's going to, at some point, it's all going to swing back to Jerusalem, and they're going to build their temple. And this will be kind of the crowning of the end of this age. Will be that, and it'll be very short-lived. It'll be like, spending 3 weeks to build something that lasts an hour, and you get to look at it before it melts or something, like an elaborate ice sculpture. Okay. That is the fate of Israel, to toil throughout time to achieve a goal they'll never enjoy. And the lesson for the rest of us is the end does not justify the means. The means is actually more important than the end, because there really isn't an end. There's only the moment you're living in. So it's a spiritual fallacy. and we've all been living under it for a long time now, because we've been through 100 years of nonstop war. War is epigenetic to us now. There's not a single person on this call right now that does not have a family member going back 2 generations that was not in a war. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's my grandparents, right? And not so my great uncles, but
yeah, my grandpa was in it.
My grandpa was
My
was a part of the medical corps in Papua New Guinea during World War II.
Yeah. So it takes a long time to sort of get war out of you. It takes a few generations. If you can accelerate it, if you're a highly spiritual people. Do you know that a Zulu warrior could not rejoin the tribe for 7 days after a battle? They had to go through a spiritual purification process so that they didn't pollute the tribe. These primitive peoples.
It's really, really smart.
Yeah. So in the East, you have in this part of Europe. So Israel wants to form a stronghold in that part of Europe, right? So, I mean, they've got London and Washington now at the level of true control. I mean, and I'm not trying to do a big Jewish thing tonight, and I'm not trying to spew hate speech or anything like that. I mean, any one of us who, if we were born into a Jewish family, we'd be the same way after the conditioning and the lamentation of the grandparents and everybody's out to get us. You'd be behaving the exact same way.
So, the documentary Defamation, it was kind of shocking. Yeah, it's made by a Jewish man, but he's not. I think he's American.
Really?
Yeah, and he's dual citizen. But it just showed how the education system in Israel is, everyone wants to kill you, everyone wants to kill you, everyone wants to kill you, and you get to the point where you can't criticize the Israeli government because you're anti-Semitic. It's like, yeah, but it doesn't mean you can do anything you like. You got to have criticism. You don't go next door and beat up grandma because you're Jewish. We're coming up to the break, and I'll ask you this question, Bruce. They're the chosen people. What are they chosen for?
Well, Monty, I'll let people figure that out for themselves, but you wouldn't want to be chosen for it. I'll just say that.
I actually had someone. I heard someone explain it. It's like, you're the chosen people because God. They explained it where God walked into a room and they said hello to the Jewish person first, and that's how they think, we're the chosen one. It's like, no, God went on. It was a dinner party. He went on and said hello to everyone else.
Yeah,
could it happen?
Well, they got airlifted the first in Ukraine. They got airlifted first when Zelensky passed the forced conscription for all 18 to 60-year-old. They got airlifted fast. They're truly a protected bunch in there.
Well, interesting enough about that is a lot of people are pointing out a lot of feminists are going back to the kitchen because it looks like World War III, because women can be drafted in the United States, which is slightly amusing. And what was the other? I can't remember. That's right. People are saying that for those unvaccinated, we can't travel. So if there is a war, they're all going to be vaccinated. And that's an interesting thing as well here in Victoria. Our Premier said, we'll accept Ukrainian refugees. That's awesome. But only 35% of Ukrainians are double jabbed. So how can they get in?
Backdoor.
Well, obviously, I mean, what, Cortek, you think you live on a just world? I mean, come on.
Plenty of backdoors in an island.
Yeah, well, we have a lot of coastline. I mean, if we lived in a just world, Metallica would have won the Grammy for their song One, and not Jethro Tull. An obscure music reference that 3 people will get. I don't care. I'm just pointing it out, I mean,
the fair.
Yeah, the Clintons would have been in jail in the 80s.
Yeah, what a different world. Instead, we have the list.
Yeah. And she's come out and started spewing crap again. But her bag, she's actually morphing into George Soros. And I actually shared a meme, when owners look like their pets, and it's Hillary Clinton and George Soros. Soros is on the side of Ukraine. Yeah, that's gonna. There's a lot of like. I mean, I haven't really delved into it. This is just all piled onto my radar because I haven't gone. Who knows what's going on? The Russians have stepped over a line. That much I can tell you. But who knows where? I mean, NATO's been slowly creeping up on them. Yeah, the timing of it's very interesting as well. Like because they were ramping up. The idea of war was ramping up, or whatever invasion. Blah blah. Stupid mainstream media terminology. But have you noticed how quickly the Canadian thing got shut down? Because you can, it's like we'll have to get rid of that because now, it was COVID, but now it's war.
Bring out the
Pandemic
missiles.
over.
Literally, Trudeau was made a fool of in 72 hours. He literally contradicted himself. We don't stand with swastikas. Now they're standing with swastikas.
Yeah, exactly. We are halfway. This is Planet Collingwood. For those comedy fans, sorry. It's a good show, but not many laughs. We'll see what we can do in the next hour. You're listening to Revolution Radio, Studio A. I'm Planet Collingwood, and you're listening to Monty Dean. Damn it. I Biden again. We'll be back. And, of course, my cat wants to be let in. Timing. Yes, timing. Live the life of a comedian because it's all about timing. You're listening to Revolution Radio, Studio A. This is Planet Collingwood. If you enjoyed the last hour, please go to freedomslips.com and or revolution.radio and donate what you can. $5 here, $10 there, $4,000 here, whatever you can spare, because we're 100% listener supported. So thank you for all those who support us by sharing the shows and getting the word out there. I'm on YouTube and Odyssey and BitChute and what's the other one? Rumble. And I have an audience. Yeah, I'm just showing off, which is good, kind of good. If I didn't, I'd stop doing it, really, because, we can have these conversations off air. So people like it, so which is a good thing. So, and we're in March now. The Ides of March is turning up. My birthday. It's a Labor Day here in Victoria. In a couple of weeks. The United States is doing some time travel because they're changing their daylight savings. That's going to be fun. Cortek, I'm just letting you know now, in 2 weeks, not next week, the week after, it will be an hour earlier. All right? Yeah. He's nowhere near his microphone. That's good. And, so where were we? We're having hilarious talks about Jewish people.
Oops.
Yeah, which is kind of weird because there's Jewish comedy. And it's unique. So
I always get caught out by the old time change.
Yep. And then I think April 4th we changed times, and so it'll be an hour earlier. So it'll be 4 p.m. In the afternoon for us. Yay! All right, yeah.
Good time.
Yeah. Start talking amongst yourself. I have to go deal with Her Highness the Goddess. That is feline. She's at the back door going. Like, I've already fed you. I keep telling you every Wednesday. Cats do not understand time. They're observing, but this one is taking notes.
Well, she knows when she can kind of, put a foot down and get fed, I reckon.
Yeah, but I put the foot. I'll just go get my cat.
Again.
Yeah. Stupid cat coming here telling me what to do.
It's apparently Boris Johnson has used kangaroo testicle in a speech.
Boris is a nobody.
Yeah, politicians is the lowest form of transit.
All those guys right now, the way they are all on Ukrainian side, it's just so obvious. It's quite pathetic, but it's like everyone just suddenly Ukrainian side. I even saw some girls on OnlyFans on Ukrainian side. I'm like, well, market yourself, girl. There's a war going on.
Interesting enough, with OnlyFans, they've shut down all the Russian accounts.
And the Russian girls are the most beautiful, which is funny.
Yeah, or Ukrainian girls.
I've heard.
Yeah, yes. A friend of mine told me. I don't follow
What's
many.
OnlyFans?
Well, basically, it's instead of going to a porn site, you've got OnlyFans, and it's fans. So you could actually start your OnlyFans account, and you could talk about writing. But a lot of girls do a lot of lewds and nudes.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I was about to say, where have you been? But you live in Central America, and I don't think OnlyFans is huge.
I have a feeling nobody will be copulating anymore after VR comes fully in.
Well, but
VR
when though,
won't
when,
kill
got a
that.
long way
yeah,
to
but
go.
they wait though, yeah, because they've tried 4 times and no one picks it up.
It makes most people nauseous.
I'll tell you something about VR. I hate VR, any form of it.
Oh,
I
tell,
just
tell us what you really think.
I just
No.
did.
You like
Well, that's
it?
the thing.
don't mind-
I feel like
people
it's like
I
ask,
don't
deep-
mind
deeper
putting the
feeling.
headset on to watch something like a
Yeah.
movie or something. I'm cool with that. But if you tell me to play video games in VR, I'll tell you no. Why? Because video games is fundamentally sensorial input and output. And if you're playing a video game on a VR, you're rewriting your neural pathway to that VR. And that's bad.
and yeah, it's not 100% immersive. Where like you need a full body suit and you have to be, all that suit. Even though you can take the mask off, and it would be creating a false perception of reality by changing the neural pathways. Mate, people ask you, do you play video games? No, I live in one. So why would I go into a VR world? Because I know that.
Most idiots don't understand that they are already in a universe. They don't need to go into a metaverse.
Yeah,
I don't know. I
You
thought
may
it
want to
was-
change. You may want to change your customer service there. Stop calling them idiots.
I thought it was pretty good to play Asteroids when the first what's the name came out, Grand Theft Auto. San Andreas.
That's good.
I'm
Now,
in a
interesting about
video game,
Asteroid.
Playing a video game.
Figuring out puzzles, playing a video game in a video game. Like, oh, this is high art. Now, speaking of asteroids, I can't remember which one it was, but allegedly an asteroid was going to hit Earth, but I think it was between Jupiter and Mars. It turned left.
Huh.
Yeah, that doesn't. I don't think it was a rock. I don't think there was gravity involved. So yeah, apparently this. It was.
Did they name this asteroid something suspiciously obvious?
Yes, but
UFO
as I said, I don't.
36?
When I said I don't remember its name, what I meant to say was I don't remember its name.
Oh.
Yeah. I know. I'm just using plain English there. And you're Australian. You should not understand what I'm talking about. Cobber.
I didn't understand because the rain is sideways here.
Well, that's because Mother Nature loves you, and you should
Is
shower more.
it raining extra because we've melted all the ice off the Antarctic?
No.
You sure? Is
Sort
there
of.
just not more moisture in the air that's getting rained everywhere? I don't know.
Man, I'll tell you, we've had
Maybe just
5 cyclones in the Indian Ocean. Those weather satellites are playing funny buggers, man. They're playing funny buggers all over the place.
Well, the question, what's the main driver of weather on this planet? The sun. And what's the sun up to? It's in a minimum, but it's playing funny buggers. It's been a bitch about it.
Mm.
And is it a 500-year cycle that it's going through? And do Team Dark know this? And that's why they're pushing the whole climate change to hide it. And also, how pathetic. Like in Australia, 2 years ago, Australia was on fire. Now we're flooding, and people still haven't. We've been here for nearly 2.5 centuries. You think we'd know the land by now?
Peaks and
I'm
troughs,
thinking
peaks and
clearly.
troughs, peaks-
Yeah, but it's also cheap building material, and I remember when humanity used to build round buildings, which was so much better than these oblong box shapes.
They
Tricky with
still
the
do.
furniture, though. Tricky with the furniture.
They still do where I live, Monty. They still do.
Yeah, but they haven't changed, and for good reason. Because 7,000 years, and it still works.
I've been in a unit twice, and it feels right. You see all those pictures of the, your nicely curved interiors to try and match some kind of Tatooine kind of interior, and it just feels nice to be in. It's hard with square beds and all stuff like that, but it's unlike the curves.
Yeah, it's a bit of feng shui. I mean, like the Inuits and Eskimos and whatever they're called now, their igloos all round, which is also, I guess, part of their building structure, because having it like a dome, everything presses on itself, and so it holds its structure. Can you imagine trying to build an igloo just as a square and then wonder why there's this massive storm and you get collapsed on by all that ice?
Why does that corner keep getting taken out? Yes, yeah. They just get stronger. Yeah, it's super simple, and
well, it's fascinating. Just even with the mainstream history, which is utter crap, you can see the ingeniousness. That's a word, right?
Yeah.
Like just the building techniques of Roman architecture.
Yep.
Like, you've you know what a council road looks like, and yet there's still Roman roads today that don't need repairing.
Yeah, I was pretty amazed when I first went over to the UK and there was roads older than Australia.
Yeah, by 1800 years, yeah. When was this built? Around about 200 AD or what, a common era, whatever it is. And it's like, yeah, because I think there's an actual a cutaway diagram, and it's just not, oh, we'll just put some rocks here and hope for the best. They dig down, 5 or 6 feet, and there's so many layers and there's drainage, and, you know, and the Romans is like, I want to build this once, okay? We build this once. Yeah, there's Italians know how to build. We build this once, and I don't want my generations of kids coming back in 400 years going, we need to repair this.
Basically, it's I want to concrete the backyard to do it once, kind of an attitude.
Yeah, yeah, it's like grass. What do I need grass for? I can just use the hose and yeah. I think that's just an Australian thing. A lot of Greek and Italians. I don't know because I haven't left the country. But yeah, a lot of concrete.
Must be.
Well, we're also on the call. We've got someone in Costa Rica and Mauritius, so slightly different planning permits would be used over there. Because I've seen photos of where Bruce lives, and it's like, oh, look, dirt. You don't really have a sidewalk. See what I did there? I Americanized it. Are they called footpaths in Canada or sidewalks?
Sidewalks.
Okay. Well, it makes sense. It's the walk on the side. We call it a footpath because it's a path for feet. You know, no one's wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're French in here. We call it the trottoir. Happy.
What is that?
Wait. What the hell? I'm strolling down the promenade on the trottoir.
Now, what is it?
It means sidewalk.
Oh, okay.
Jeez, catch up, Cortek.
Simple enough, geez.
Yeah, it's like, you know. Well. Yeah. It's fascinating. I did see from a mainstream outlet, so I don't know who said it, so I don't care. But they said, inflation in the United States are raising the prices because of the Ukraine situation. It's like, it's been like that for a year.
Any excuse.
Oh, yeah. And that's the thing about Biden mentioned the whole inflation. A lot of the time during the State of the Union address, it's like, because of you, it's like that Bill Hicks thing where George Bush says we live in a dangerous world. Because of you keep selling weapons to everybody. And it's the same thing with Biden, like the border crisis, that's because of him. Inflation, because of him. And everything else is because of him. And what they've realized is they're going to lose, as I said before, they're going to lose terribly at the midterms, and that's what's referred to as a red wave, where everyone votes Republican because the Democrats are completely out of touch of any reality, even their own.
Peaks and troughs. I don't think there's anyone government at the moment who think they can ride their way through the next election and think everything's okay.
Well, see, now we think this is without corruption and election fraud.
Oh yeah, well, no, that's not the case.
And let's go a bit local here, Cortek. Let's talk about the federal election for 3 minutes before everyone drops off and asleep. Our only options, how does South Park? A shit sandwich and a douche burger. And so you've only got Scott Morrison, who is completely inept as being a human. Like, did you see the footage of him? He's doing some spot welding, and he couldn't see correctly, so he lifted it up. Yeah. He lifted up the protective mask and did a massive arc, and everyone's like,
almost see the moment his body winces back from permanent blindness.
Yeah, the retinas send a very short, sharp message to his brain of stop that.
Okay, so next option.
Is Albanese, who seems to be the left, and he's completely infectual. Like, he's supposed to be the leader. He's supposed his performance in opposition is utter shite because he wasn't opposing at all. He wasn't with all the stuff that's happened in Australia for the last 3 years. There is no opposition. That's why I'm not a big fan of, I wouldn't vote for the Conservative Party in Canada, but at least they've seen blood in the water with Trudeau, and they're actually acting like an opposition in Parliament now.
Talking about ideas and stuff.
Yeah, like, why do we still have these mandates and everything else like that, where other Western countries who have lower vaccination rates have got rid of it? And did you hear the news out of New Zealand? A high court has judged that the government has to stop the mandates because it's grossly offensive to human rights.
It is grossly offensive. I heard they're also playing Barry Manilow when the trucks came to town as well, trying to get them out.
Yeah, and I
Some
feel
of those
for Barry.
truckies liked Barry.
Nothing
The
wrong with
problem
Barry.
in New Zealand is everyone's been vaccinated already. That's the problem. Only a few person haven't.
Yeah, so why keep it going then? Like, I mean, here in Victoria,
No,
now the other thing is
it's
we're getting into
little bit
I'm not sure
booster
if I
land.
believe those stats.
We're coming into booster land now, where I think it's 95% of Victorians are double dosed, but we're around about 35 or 60% triple dosed, and so they're changing the language from vaccinated to up to date. And we still we don't have to. I don't have to wear a mask to go into the supermarket, but the people who work at the supermarket still have to wear a mask until they finish, and they can take their mask off and walk around the supermarket. What? Science, everybody.
Science.
So Victoria, the government said, we're sort of back to normal. It's like, well, except for the medical apartheid with all the vaccines. Oh, yeah, but we've got the Foo Fighters playing on Saturday. And not everyone likes the Foo Fighters. Plus, it's in Geelong, which is nowhere near friggin' Melbourne. And the Foo Fighters are pharmaceuticals, because we're all vaccinated. And then someone in their organisation's got COVID. Did you know this? News just a hand that came out yesterday. The Prime Minister of Australia, who is vaccinated, has COVID.
Not surprising.
Yeah. So is the Queen, apparently. And
I thought it was Philip that kind of snuck in when he was sure he was positive for it and had an old chat with his mum. Hey, mum. How you? Give us a kiss.
Yeah. So, I mean, from my perspective, there's 3 elections that I unfortunately have to look for because I do this show. I like doing the show, but I have to do my homework because people talk about things. Except for the State of the Union address. It always happens. I do research for the show, start the show, and we talk about donuts for 45 minutes. Yeah, donuts. Yeah. I love a bit of fresh cream. Fresh cream's lovely. Or a nice eclair. What am I? Okay, my brain's telling me something. A lot of bakeries.
Yourself.
A lot of bakeries in Australia are owned and run by Vietnamese people, and that's because the French dominated them for years. So that's kind of one good thing that came out of the French occupation of Asia Minor was they taught everyone pastries.
There's a lot of good bakeries in Vietnam.
And my hammy.
Yeah. Interesting. Did you know there's a pork shortage at the moment?
No, I did not.
I did. Yeah. I did, Monty. I did.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that's a Jewish conspiracy.
Got myself a pig fattening up right now, Monty.
Well, nice. You can't really share. You're very far away.
Well, with 24-hour delivery and vacuum sealing these days, Monty, you'd be surprised what I can't do.
Well, yeah, but being Australia, remember when? Oh, well, of course you do, because you actually got it. Revolution Radio used to do that awesome seed pack where apparently my great grandchildren could still eat from it. Nighthawk found out the hard way that he sent 2 packs to Australia, and the Australian Customs burnt them.
Wow.
Yeah, okay, these are just heirloom seeds. Yeah.
So I will tell you, I'll give you an update on my seed packs. I mean, most of the other stuff, the tomatoes, the cucumbers, all that kind of stuff, I couldn't get it to a perpetual state. Like I couldn't get seeds from the seeds and all that sort of stuff. Mind you, I didn't try that hard. But the one thing that persists is I now have a fully mature papaya plant, which is about 12 feet high. And it yields a lot of fruit, man, like a lot of fruit. And it one of the rows, because it blooms in rows. Very interesting tree. All the fruit trees over here are fascinating to watch. You could learn a lot from fruit trees, let me tell you. And I mean, it's just been for the last month and a half. It's been like papaya every other day.
So quick,
Right.
you can have more than you need when you, I guess, when you have a tree that big. Even with a small plant and tomatoes, you have
Yeah.
more than you need quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I've got the papaya. I've got an avocado tree. There's mango trees on the mountain.
How's the stomach cleansing going? Intestine cleansing with all the ripe papayas. It should be
Is that
coming out.
Well, there's your gut's pretty good over here, all things considered, right? Because the food is so clean.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm stuck on you've got a mature papaya tree. What it's reading books now. It goes out Saturday night picking up girls. Just
Well,
Goes up,
this isn't.
says, "Don't wait up for me."
It's not a quick process, Monty. It's 2-3 years for a papaya tree to reach maturity.
Yeah,
So
you know that
it's not a tree, it's a plant, but it's like
okay.
it looks
It's
like if you saw it, you'd go, "Hey, that's a tree."
Yeah. You do recognize comedy when it turns up, right?
Just tell Monty that it can vote and it regularly posts on Reddit.
Okay, hold on. I just want to clarify something. Monty, did you tell a joke?
Did you? Because you got laughs.
He's got you there.
You got. Hey, don't make me come up.
Monty,
there,
would you
Cortek.
like to repeat your joke?
Monty, sanction him. Put some economic sanction on him. Rally everyone.
Well, see, like you know, I'm aiming for the high end of the room of the audience. So if you didn't get it, sales buyer, it's not up to me, mate.
I missed it, man.
Press the rewind button.
Can you give
What?
me? Can you give?
I'll repeat it.
Give me a shot at a rebound here.
Yeah, okay. Well, so you've got a mature papaya tree. Is it like reading and going out on Saturday night picking up girls because it's mature?
Classic.
Yeah, that's a good one, Monty. It's a good one.
Yeah, I know.
Take a moment and write that down.
It's been recorded for posterity forever.
Saturday night.
No, don't worry. Once I free myself from this karmic resolution planet and I can travel through the universe, I'll point out, this is my friend Bruce. This is the papaya tree joke he didn't get. And of course, Octarians are going, what?
Yeah, you wanna lead with that on your next open mic.
Well, not on this planet, but in other parts of the galaxy, it's like, so human, what's going on there? So I said to one human, so you've got a mature papaya tree. It's not a tree, it's a plant. So,
yeah.
There you go.
You do realize that other planets, trees are extremely rare. So when you say papaya tree, they'll be really, really confused.
See, well, I'll have a hologram display to show, So I'll
They'll be like,
manifesting.
wow, where did you get that? We should go buy that DNA wisdom. And then they will go to some galactic market with like 12 floors, shifting on one another like Inception on crack.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
and also, after I finish my set, I go backstage and I'll have some fans going, hey, man, can you get us some loosh?
You want some of that good outdoor loosh? Indo? Indo.
I like, get that look, like that fake wrestling stuff, the way that those TVs suck up all the loosh from the crowd. I love that flavor.
So I heard that MI6 is going to parachute Greta Thunberg into Russia. She's going to shut the whole thing down by boring the shit out of them about fossil fuels.
I heard that it's a combined attack with her and that other shitty American actor, Sean Penn. Is it Sean Penn that's gone in as well and is doing on-the-line reporting to get himself a job?
Sean has done good work.
Has he? Okay, sorry. I thought he was just trying to get in there to promote himself.
It's not off-screen he hasn't, but on-screen he has gone. Bruce, go ahead.
Somebody has to ask out loud at this point, is Sean Penn a CIA asset?
Or one of the luckiest.
How do you get a meeting? How do you get a meeting with El Chapo? How do you end up in the president of the Ukraine's office? I mean, that he would be the classic cover guy for the CIA, man.
I can answer it.
They had to let go.
No.
The basketball guy.
I'm answering your question.
Go.
He just tells them he was married to Madonna once, and not the footballer.
Oh, the real John Wilder.
It's like, wait. You were married to Madonna? Please come in, sit down, talk.
Come in.
What album do you like? Yes. So, there you go.
Yeah. Because I'll tell you, in the world of moral aromas, you go from righteous to self-righteous pretty quick, and it stinks. He's getting into Bono territory now in terms of like, oh, shut up.
Yeah, that's a high level of annoyance. Yeah, I mean, Bono, we should help the poor. Well, pay some taxes, you cheating twat.
Yeah.
Because he's a multi-millionaire but lives in Ireland, so he doesn't have to pay tax.
I'm pretty sure the world's not ready to see him out in public.
Yeah.
He
can write a tune. Wow. He did write a tune. He actually wrote a song for a Bond movie and Madonna sang it. I think it was that one. I'll stop talking now. I'm going to bore you with I watched 24 Bond movies in a row. Don't do that.
I was about to say, you say the M word one more time, it'll spit up in my mouth, I think.
I threw up in my mouth.
They haven't gone full social justice on Bond movies, right? Oh, wait, they have. Yeah. The latest one.
They killed him.
No, not real.
They killed him.
No, well, yeah, they killed him because it's they revamped it. They rebooted it with Daniel Craig because they wanted to go back to the start because very short information burst. They got the rights to the first book, Casino Royale. I could spend 45 minutes explaining how that happened. Let's move on. They got the rights to the movie and they thought, well, we'll start again and we could reboot the series. Because it doesn't make sense, because if James Bond is 30 or 32 in 1963 and he's still the same character in 1995 with GoldenEye.
Hey, it's a late starter.
No. I put to you, sir, that James Bond's a Time Lord.
Also could be a Time Lord, and he may come up in Doctor Who in the future.
Yeah. So basically, the way that Daniel Craig, he did 5 movies, and so for the character, it kind of in that 5-movie arc, it makes sense they kill James Bond. But if you go, oh, they killed James Bond, it's like he's coming back. They'll start again. It's Hollywood. They'll do a reboot.
Look. Did he die near a large body of water? If so, he's alive. They're always swimming somewhere.
No. Spoilers. I have to point this out now because I got in trouble last time. I talked about a movie that, the Matrix one, and it was 3 weeks later. Well, I haven't seen it yet.
Who'd you get in trouble by? Neo?
It was on the internet. That much I can tell you. My point being, James Bond gets poisoned or jabbed with a certain virus, which is designed for a certain DNA, and it just happens to be his wife/lover and his daughter. So if he touched them, they would actually get killed because it's a designer virus. And it's kind of great. Like, maybe you made me not see the film, but read the synopsis of the film, and it's like, wow, they're so close to.
I just remembered I watched that movie.
Yeah, and so he decided to actually, because he couldn't get off the island quick enough because there was a missile strike, so he chose to sacrifice himself. Plus, he already retired at that point, and he was old and blah blah blah, and the actor wanted to move on. I don't think that part's in the story, but
no. All you need to do with that movie is to go to the end credits from where it finishes the movie and goes to the end credits, and listen to how disjointed the music they put on with the credits is. It's like the end of some bouncy kind of, European vacation movie. Like, we killed up James Bond, but everything's, we'll have another guy out or something.
But they'll make another one because they made their money back on No Time to Die. The problem was there was a lot of hints about going woke, and it was postponed for 2 years. And so
watch them bring out a woke James Bond like Ghostbusters 4, and then everyone's just going to go,
no, sorry, Cortek,
you killed it like Star Wars.
Cortek, you actually have to say Ghostbusters 2016.
Sorry, 2016. So we're just going to skip that, are we? We're just going to pretend.
Well, yeah, because that's not. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, people call the video game Ghostbusters 3, but it's a video game. But
the most recent Ghostbusters was great.
Yes, Ghostbuster Afterlife.
I think Sean Penn now has completely transcended method acting. I think he just method lives now.
Yes.
And this means basically he's playing himself most of the time. but he never steps out of character. It's amazing.
Like Tropic Thunder.
Did you tweet about that?
I'm just a
I don't
dude
break
playing
till
a
the rap
dude.
party.
I'm just a
What do you
dude
mean?
who's playing a dude who's
Cortek,
playing
what do you
another
mean,
dude.
you people?
Yeah. Hey.
You tweeted about that, didn't
The
you?
first time I watched
read
it,
that
I didn't know it
somewhere.
was him until halfway through the movie. It was just brilliant.
What do you mean, you people?
It took me 3/4 of the movie to realize that's Tom Cruise. Wow.
That was also
Anyway.
pretty good.
Well, the irony, slight irony, I don't know if it's irony, but it's funny where you've got Robbie Downey Jr. His character, I'm just a dude playing another dude, and it's Robbie Downey Jr. playing that character. So it's a dude playing a dude playing a dude playing a dude. Yeah. Levels, Jerry, levels.
Yeah. Hey, did anybody happen to catch Mark Zuckerberg on the Lex Friedman podcast?
No, unfortunately. How is Data's son?
There's something super freaky about that guy's skin, man. It's like a coat of rubber over an exoskeleton or something.
We should actually start
don't
our own
know.
thing. Yellow Man
And
bad.
his eyes just reek of Adderall abuse.
Wouldn't surprise me because, like, how much is he actually worth? Like, didn't they lose like $2 billion? And like, how much money does this person have?
I don't know.
I did watch. If you remember the movie, they actually made a movie about how Facebook started. And like, interesting concept. Called The Social Media, and it's Jesse Eisenberg's one of his first roles. I think that was the one that sort of propelled him into the mainstream. And the one thing I learned from it is an arsehole with money is still an arsehole.
With money.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah, well, yeah. Because at the end of it, spoiler alert, and believe me, you don't want to watch it. He created Facebook to try and bag this chick, and at the end of it, he sent a friend request or something to her profile, and it's just him refreshing the page over and over again, and then they fade to the credits. I'm like, yay.
They forgot to add the part where DARPA did it, but never mind.
Yeah. That I think that was lost in the third draft. Yeah.
Monty.
Yes. When I pause, I'm listening.
She can't hurt you anymore.
What are you talking about?
Exactly.
Yeah, you actually said that. We're talking about Star Wars and Disney, and you said that. And it's like, yeah, well, look, I'll grab my Mickey Mouse doll and I'll show you where they touched me.
Nudge, hint. She can't hurt you anymore.
It's the one that's coming up. That's going to be the bitch. Actually, for those playing at home, where I point on the Mickey Mouse doll, it's my wallet.
Hey.
Good. Yeah. Well. Yeah. Speaking of, we've got the Kenobi series coming up, so it'll be interesting to see how they roll in that. Because Hayden Christensen's coming back to play Darth Vader. It's like awesome, but you do know Obi-Wan Kenobi doesn't meet Darth Vader till the fourth bloody movie.
Yeah. Why?
Yeah. So, but that's Disney. I'm sure they'll remake Star Wars: A New Hope at some point.
Disney has its own timeline, its own everything. Everything is
Can you subscribe to it?
No, it's forced upon you. I remember I was watching QI with Stephen Fry, and they were pointing the biggest organization, the organization with the biggest or second biggest armada is actually Disney. And Stephen goes, oh, wow, would you look? Next, they'll be making movies.
I mean, if you watch The Mandalorian, there was not Mandalorian, sorry, Boba Fett. I screwed that hard.
Right, and
Monty.
go.
Monty, did you tell another joke? Did I miss another joke?
Look, if you look, it's not my fault you don't get a local reference.
He's just trying to stay awake. It's late over there.
Yeah, it's like 1750.
No,
Yeah.
it should be way later there. What time
I
is
was
it now?
talking year. Anyway,
Oh,
see,
never
now
mind.
that was a joke, Bruce, and it died. It died a lonely death.
Never mind.
Speaking
so
of jokes,
Like I wanted to say also hello Harry, but I wanted to say Luke was supposed to go into a different direction with the attachment part in the Jedi Order, but in the new Disney version that we see, he's still holding on to it.
Yeah. Because they're heading towards the sequel trilogy, and it's shite. It's not the George Lucas timeline, because all the lessons that Luke is learning in the Disney timeline, he learned that in the last third of Return of the Jedi. Now, speaking of Return, because Bruce's segue was a bit rude. And here's a joke, everyone. Harry, how are you, sir? Now, how's your audio?
Well, is that all right? Can you hear me now?
Never know.
It's better than last time, but it's still shit.
It's fine. Jeez.
Harry?
What?
Can you update us on the Jewish swine shortage conspiracy?
Well, you having a personal fit here?
Try and talk into the microphone.
I'm having a peaceful piss.
You're feeling a bit off mic today.
I just come on to thank you, for your deliberately satirical.
No, but seriously, Harry, if you just read the book of Urantia now, we could say you're being channeled into this call. You sound so bad.
The channel saw the State of the Union address and was playing the Biden game. And drink. It was so funny watching Crowder and Tim Pool, because they're doing the drinking game, they started to sound like Biden as well. they kept mispronouncing words and stuffing it up. It was hilarious. I recommend you should just watch just watch the Ben Shapiro response to the State of the Union address. It's only 11 minutes long, and you don't have to see Biden at all.
I prefer not to.
What? No, you sound well muffled, sir. What dimension are you reporting from?
He's transcended already. He's left us 3D5 cents mortal realm.
There was some sci-fi movie where at the end a guy kind of get caught behind the walls and he could see through the cracks in the walls of time, and he was in this dimension, but in between.
Inception.
Not Inception, because that's kind of the whole thing moved. But there was another more space one, but then he was. Great story, bro. So we'll leave it at that.
That was Inception.
No, there was another one though, but and that seems where Harry is. It seems like in between walls of communication.
Oh, Interstellar.
Interstellar, thank you.
Definitely.
Oh yeah, Interstellar. Sorry, crap.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I remember.
Inception because my brain is stuck.
Well, it's very close because it's just another film made by the same person.
I know everything is blurring together. Oh god.
It's collapsing of the timelines. That's why we're getting information overload. The thing about Interstellar was they walk up to the line of spiritual, but they claim it's all quantum physics, but they don't speak about anything woo-woo or spiritual. And that's for me. It was like, but I've had other friends go, "This is brilliant. Look at all the information below." And like,
it's so sciencey.
They walk up to the line and they look over and like, "Oh, woo-woo." No, I'll just step back.
Half of the science was absolute garbage. The gravity science was mega garbage. Yeah. It's just sad. I mean, there's this scene where there's a planet caught in the gravity well of a black hole. The gravity is so high that it slows time. But when they have to take off from the planet, they just do a normal takeoff. It's like,
so many assumptions there.
You're going to need like 1,000 times the power of that to take off from that planet.
Well, one of the basic rules of writing things is write what you know. And unless Christopher Nolan was tripping balls, I don't think he knows what he's writing about.
Do I still stand garbage?
Sounds great. Sounds great.
Cortek, you're not helping.
I thought everyone's talking about black holes spewing shit out these days rather than swallowing things up. We've completely revised our thinking on this because we had no idea, and a couple of people said maybe it's creating galaxies. So we're kind of going with it for a while.
Yeah, but it's science, and science always evolves. So dark matter, no dark matter, dark matter, no dark matter.
No.
It's like you're trying to eat eggs. Eggs are good for you. Eggs are bad for you. Eggs are good for you. Eggs are bad for you.
It's because we have two poles. It's because we have two poles. We're bipolarized, and it's like we'll bang against each other now. It's getting out of control.
The black hole doesn't really exist. It's just a dark sun, actually. Nazis came up with it.
It's always the bloody Nazis, ladies and gentlemen.
Actually, they use Indian formulas for it.
Yeah, I thought they would have been referring to Earth's dark sun or a smoky
Indian
god.
wants to the Brits, and the Brits shame the guy, and then he's like, all right, I'm going to go to Nazis. And Nazis were like, come, yo, our Aryan Brotherhood, don't worry about it. And they worked on his science, and they figured it out. They call it the Schwarzson something, black sun, and that's where you get the flag with the circle and the branches coming out of it. Not the swastika, the other one.
And a fairly decent last song for David Bowie.
Last album, yes.
I never heard that album.
Speaking of Nazis, Indiana Jones 5 has wrapped principal photography, which is kind of ironic because Harrison Ford's 106. So
I wonder they could squeeze one more in.
Well, I'm just wondering, will the line of like he belongs in a museum will be said?
I thought they were trying to give it to what's his name?
Shia LaBeouf. No, he went a bit nuts.
Hat path.
Yeah, but he went a bit nuts afterwards. Like in the story, possibly, but outside, no.
Maybe a Korean company will come up and help him and become Harrison Hyundai.
Hey.
Oh yeah. He bought out by General Motors, and he'd be a subsidiary. Yeah.
Harry, do you need to be talked off a ledge? You okay?
No.
Wait. No for the first question, no to the second question, or no to both questions? Okay, who booed?
Excuse me. It just slipped out.
I just want to create that moment where I was standing on the ledge thinking about it, swaying in the wind.
You still there?
Harry, you're an expert in it. You know anything about Eastern European Jews?
Yeah. In fact, my family comes from Jewish neighborhood.
You're part of the tribe. You should have told us.
Yeah. In the next week, Harry, can you try and figure out your audio problem? Because I'm squinting with my ears, and it's weird.
Yeah.
Is that better?
That is slightly better. Oh.
No, Cortek, you were correct, but it's still shite.
What device are you using, Harry?
Two at once. I'm trying to figure out which one's working. Maybe neither of them are.
You're using a computer?
Yeah, a computer and two little mic arrays. What do you call them? Cameras and microphone things.
Oh, okay. Because
you sound like the senior producer at Borat's news station.
Yeah, not to spend too much time on it. Sounds like a grounding issue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You're coming across like a New York subway announcement. Brooklyn.
Well, it's not
like that.
Sorry, I went into Muppet mode. I don't know why.
It's not quite Charlie Brown school kid. Wah, 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 wah.
You had to save money, so it's like, can you do a voice for the teacher? No, but I can play the trumpet. That will do.
I think that was incredibly effective in, portraying some children's lack of hearing once they miss one vital bit of the step along the way.
Yeah, all right, calm down. Don't go too deep. It's just a kid's comic. But you are correct. You are correct, though.
Snoopy made me cry.
Yeah.
No, he didn't.
Him and his little Woodstock.
What was going on? That reboot of Snoopy, and no one, it was giving it to new audiences, and no one knew what was going on with the dog or that little thing.
So
hung out. Go on, I'm finished.
Why does Ukraine have so many for real Nazis?
Because I just told you.
They're Jewish.
No, it was actually a concerted effort to create that. It's allowed by the UN to do something called Nazi propaganda in there.
It doesn't seem like this is the first time it's happened, and it does seem like there's
Nope.
been, stories like this and that going on for quite some time.
It's been there like that for quite a while now.
Yeah, Ukraine is a very special place. It's the gateway to Europe and Northern Asia. Because it's funny, like Biden, all these people like, we're going to confine Russia to their own country. Well, that's kind of redundant since they're a third of the Asian landmass.
Yeah, and they love it.
Yeah, like, oh,
That's where they live. They love it.
So you mean annoying American tourists will not be visiting us? I see the upside to this. Yes.
Sanction is what?
Yeah. And have you noticed the transparency or hypocrisy of look at all those protesters in Moscow. So wait. You think a small collective with unacceptable views to the government is allowed now? Because last week you weren't really that hot on it.
They're allowed for a certain amount of time, then they pulled off to the gulag in the dead of night. But there's no cameras around by then.
Yeah. So 2022, eh? Yeah, because remember I had that joke of like, I wonder what 2021 is going to be like. 2020, 2021, hold my beer. Is 2022 saying to us, hold my crack pipe?
At the moment, it's just saying rainy is all it's saying. Yeah. And it doesn't, they're just rainy full stop. It seems to be at the moment. It's early days, but it's a lot of water. Where's it all come from? It's got to come from somewhere. It's got to come out. Well, it's got to come from somewhere.
Bruce, I have something for you. You know the Azov battalion?
Yeah.
The paramilitary volunteer. So it says here Congress quietly kills ban on funding neo-Nazis in Ukraine. Obama put neo-Nazis in power in Ukraine, who's now arming North Korea. This is from 2017.
Yeah. I knew I heard it before somewhere.
It's amazing how little context our news gives us when they try to tell us what's going on, and how little real information we get now. It's all just one-sided and nonsensical. Although the coverage of this skirmish is quite expansive.
Well, I had to giggle a little bit where Condoleezza Rice, I think she was on NBC or NBC something. It wasn't CNN, it was another crap news story. And she was complaining about countries cannot go into a sovereign nation with a democratically elected leader. And it's like, hang on, didn't you orchestrate Iraq and the Afghanistan invasions?
Yeah. That's why they don't have crappy news service reports that delve too much into the past or the future, because they'd have to say they flip-flopped 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's also fascinating because watching Crowder with the State of the Union address, they looked at what CNN was saying, and apparently, that was a powerful speech by the president, and everyone's like, did we watch the same thing?
Kisses.
Like, really? And Tim Pool and his group was saying that Biden is trying to turn Republican voters to his cause. And they would go, hang on, you just sound like Trump. You're just saying the same thing. I'm not going to. And most of the problems you're trying to rectify, you created. But he's upset the far left because he wants to fund the police now, and he wants a stronger border. And he flip-flopped on about 5 different issues. And so the far left are going to go, wait a minute, why did I vote for this guy again?
Yeah, I thought he was supposed to be in there to make, for the society to decay, not to make it stronger.
Well, no, because they know that they're going to be hammered in the midterms, as I said, and so they're just trying to stay in power. Again. Yeah, they flip. Yeah. Well, I mean, in the speech, he said that pharmaceutical companies are bad because of the price of insulin, which he created the first day he came in. And then 5 minutes later, he's saying through the vaccines, the pharmaceutical companies are doing well, and it's like, pick a lane, dude.
Yeah, don't say
if we were a policeman in a patrol car following Biden driving a car, we would have pulled him over.
I would have pulled up the handbrake at that point and said, turn to whoever I was riding with and said, well, in exclamation marks.
well. What do we have here?
You just don't use that language,
and
unless you're already profiting.
Yeah, and I also noticed that Biden's had so much plastic surgery on his face that he can't open his eyes.
Early on, I saw his mouth used as his eyes, and there's very little difference. I don't trust people with such thin lips most of the time.
No. Well, and that's the other thing. You look at photos of him like 5 years, 10 years ago, and it's a completely different person. It's like they stuffed up the cloning process. Like they took the cake out of the oven before it was baked.
Like Madonna in the bath.
Well, yeah, I think she's just been replaced by an alien.
How far along do you think we are in the whole cloning thing?
Oh, I think well along.
Well on our way. Do we think that the people
God.
doing it are really competent enough to achieve it?
I think. Well, I think that they've achieved it, but they keep cloning. You know, when you photocopy or you Xerox a piece of paper,
you get less detail with each copy.
Yeah. It's almost, generation. Go ahead, Bruce.
It's almost exactly the same as cloning pot plants, Cortek, if that helps.
Do you? That kind of works. I've done that before with snippets. I think it's got to be a little bit more complex than that. I'm like, it's not rocket science, but I reckon there's a little degree of science involved.
Your clones will degrade at a certain point, right?
Yeah.
You have to go back to source.
Approximately 72 hours.
Yeah, just look at Hillary Clinton.
Get me into that minivan.
Yeah, and when she did, like, something metal fell off her, like
something weird came off as well.
Just she's been dragged to the van, and just before they basically threw her into the back of the van, there was this clang. Like,
it was super weird.
What fell off her? Was it a hip brace or something? It was, and then they had that impersonator come out 6 hours later to face the media, and like, how stupid do you think humanity is?
Yeah, and then you check the impersonator's Twitter feed, and she's saying stuff like yesterday, the day before, saying stuff like, "You might see me in New York tomorrow." It's like, oh, fuck.
Actually, you know those deep fakes, how you can put a face on someone else's body?
Yeah.
Someone, because Hillary's come out in a video waffling on about manure again, but they actually put George Soros' face on her body, and my God, I don't say this often, my God, that was scary, because my God is me, but it was scary. Now, we've been joined by Harry, so let's see if he's removed the microphone from an orifice. No. You've got a buzz now.
Yeah.
Oh, gee. No, you've driven to Glenelg.
That is definitely was.
Total Michael Keaton white noise, dude.
No, we can't hear you at all. Like, you know, I mean, Cortek is in your corner, and he said, no, that's worse.
That is like about 4 times worse.
4.3.
4.3628141.
All right, geek, calm down.
Should we do pie? Let's do the pie song.
No, please no. I just watched an episode of Star Trek Discovery where 2 prisoners who are geniuses, they would actually say the last digit of the the golden cycle numbers or whatever, and so they're going 6, 5. I'm like, really? I mean, they're in jail and they're trying to pass time, but that's they would think of numbers and just tell each other the single digit of the golden ratio.
Classic humor.
Right.
Talking of deep fakes, this is me as Morgan Freeman. Can you see me as Morgan Freeman? This is me as Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, too bad you can't do the voice, and this is an audio medium. But for the listeners, that was scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. You know, that's the other thing. What is real and what is fake? and we know the Russians are doing something in the Ukraine, and certain Ukraine people are fighting somebody, but the amount of it's not false flags. What just the fake story, the fake news that's coming out. Be it the Ghost of Kiev, which was a video, the photos of the president in the trenches, which was from April, and Snake Island. Did you hear about that? Where 13 soldiers told Russia to F themselves.
Yeah.
Well,
that's been bandied around a lot.
Yeah, they didn't get killed. They were captured.
One hell of a story, though.
Yeah, and then there was a photo of humans in uniform lying on the ground who have been captured. And depending on which news source, Russian troops have been captured, and the other one was Ukrainian troops have been captured. It's getting that sloppy, like. The controllers of the narrative. We're all in deep trouble. The New World Order. We're all going to die. Well, they suck at the moment.
It does seem really like the end of Blazing Saddles, where they have just the facades on both sides of the street.
That actually makes more sense.
Yeah.
That actually in the movie makes. I mean, the fight breaks out into the commissary, and like that breaking of the fourth wall makes more sense than the news coverage of the Ukrainian altercation. Because I don't know. I mean, I refer to World War II as that spat in the Pacific. So yeah, wording.
This is me. Oh, God.
Someone's put a bag around. Quick, get him out before he suffocates.
Tap 3 times if you've been kidnapped.
Harry.
We're at the end of the show. That was Planet Collingwood. Weird, but funny in a weird way. If you enjoyed the show, please donate to the station. If you're on Odyssey or YouTube or Rumble or BitChute and you feel like giving me some shekels on PayPal, we'll be back in 6 days and 22 hours. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, listeners. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, the Prime Creator. And a big thank you to my cat for interrupting. We shall return. See you soon.